Happy Friday, guys. What's up? Welcome in. It's another 2-hour fun extravaganza. What do we want to call it? Dave Sharapan, Matt Perrault taking over SportsGrid. Thanks for hanging with us. Dave will look at the chat. I don't look at the chat, but if you're in the chat, we'll try to cover anything and everything you guys want us to talk about here tonight. We have college basketball going on right now. Ohio State leading Iowa. That's not good. I'm on Iowa -5. Need them to wake up a little bit here. We've got late games. The Creighton Blue Jays taking on Butler. We're talking about that game later on tonight. NBA action, a lot of it. How are you doing, sir? It is Super Bowl week. Everybody getting ready to come on over to our city and celebrate the big game.
Yeah, good. I got the NHL All-Star Skill Competition on, trying to understand any of it, trying to see who's in the game. I just came off of Game Time Decisions with Ranieri, and we had the odds for the All-Star game. Jack has a nice board with it. I don't even know who's on what team, Perrault. I have no idea what to do with the All-Star game. I was like,
nothing. We're going to do nothing with the All-Star game. Okay. We talked about it on BVB. It's a whiff. The NHL decided to have a home game. Literally, they're like, "Oh, you're in Vegas. We're going to go to Toronto, and we're going to do nothing but Canadian coverage because it's crickets in America." If you had told me it was going on, hey, it's actually not going on. I'll go, "Oh, really?" I had no idea until this morning when I looked at the draft. I was like, "Oh, Kucherov. Okay, all right, I guess." He went first. What? 4 teams, 2 games, skill competition. The lines are all. What? No, I have no idea what the NHL is doing.
Very hard to figure out from an odds making point of view. And somebody asked me, "What do I do?" I said, "You take the biggest dog." I mean, you probably have people coming up to counters or going on their app and going, "McKinnon's the best player. Let me take his team. He probably drafted a good team." Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I used to love this event. I'll keep an eye on it while we keep an eye on all the basketball and all this other stuff. It's a crazy week, right? And I think the NHL had to decide because the NFL has now 18 weeks. This Super Bowl used to be this weekend. And then the NHL All-Star Game would be the following weekend. And then the NBA All-Star Game would be after that. It was just a regular rhythmic pattern that we abided by in the books forever. I mean, I knew the calendar by what was going on. First week of February, Super Bowl. Second week of February, NHL All-Star break. Third week of February, NBA All-Star break. Well, they had to decide now because we got an extra week in the calendar. NHL threw it in this weekend. And all we're talking about is Super Bowl props. We're talking about Taylor Swift, possibly Travis Kelce getting engaged after the game, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey. And meanwhile, you got all that basketball. There's not that much tonight to talk about, but you hit me today, and you're wearing that nice blue jacket today, looking good. Big matchup tomorrow in college basketball. There's a lot of things happening this weekend.
Every night. I've worn this on SportsGrid. The next day when UNC has played, they've won and covered. So,
just saying. Not saying. Just saying.
It's been a good run. They got Duke tomorrow, so I get it. Big rivalry game. They're at home. Dean Dome. They'll play twice. They'll play here at UNC in Chapel Hill. Then they go down the road and play in Durham at the end of the year. March the 3rd, I believe, is the last game of the regular season for Duke and North Carolina. So we get a big brawl. But, I mean, there are so many big games tomorrow. I mean, Tennessee and Kentucky get after it tomorrow. Baylor, Iowa State get after it tomorrow. I think UConn should be on upset alert tomorrow on the road at St. John's in the Big East. Got that game. I think Auburn should be on upset alert tomorrow against Ole Miss. I mean, there are so many good games tomorrow in college basketball. This is when it gets fun. And I get it. People love the NBA. They love the drama. They love, who's playing and who is not. And is LeBron getting traded? Is he not? All that stuff. Give me college basketball every single day over the NBA. Let me watch it. Let me bet on it. I like it so much more. NBA playoffs are awesome. NBA regular season February, boring. Boring.
Wow.
Although I do have a bunch of bets going on tonight, though.
So we live in Vegas. We've seen the transformation of everything for the Super Bowl in years past. March Madness is, like you said, another one of those things. But everybody's coming to Vegas. What are you looking forward to most? There's the playoff bracket. There's the Super Bowl. Everybody's coming. What is what's one of the things that you're looking forward to the most for the game itself, or who's arriving, or what we're doing, or what's happening between here on the grid and everything else? What, got one thing?
I mean, I don't know if it's one thing. I'm really happy it's here. Like, we've talked about this for 3 years about the Super Bowl being in Las Vegas and what that was going to be like for us to have a home game and for us to just sleep in our own beds and for us to drive to events and then drive home. That's going to be really, really different for us to be able to do that and to go and watch everyone's eyes be saucers as they run around going, I'm here. And we're like, it's a Tuesday. Like,
right?
This is okay. I'll see you Wednesday. Like, I'll see you tomorrow. Like, this is what we do and what we have done for a while, here. So the Super Bowl being in Vegas, we talked about this earlier today on BVB, but like, we know that people come to Vegas to bet all the time. The parties, the people who come into town. So like, the game being here is the one big difference. But for me in the media, it's the media events that are going to make it so different. I mean, Tuesday night, I was looking at it just like an hour ago. Tuesday night is media night here at Allegiant Stadium. Like, the fact that we're going to have that in Las Vegas, I have no idea what chaos is going to unfold on Tuesday night.
No, I don't want to think about the chaos. I really don't, because I know who's coming. You know who's coming. I mean, we know who's coming.
Everyone.
Jack, our producer's
entertainment.
Coming.
Oh, well, then them too. Yeah. But
forget about
the non-football
and
media.
all these other people. They've been coming for years. Private planes, all that stuff.
Yes, but this Taylor Swift nonsense, this is bringing in such a different angle. Like, this is now, they're literally trying to target 16-year-old to 24-year-old women. Like, this is a big difference. There's going to be a much different feel. I can't wait to see who's on Media Row pitching feminine products. It's going to be way more than we've ever seen before. I'm serious. This is going to, I told you, there's 3 companies that are buying advertising in the Super Bowl targeting women between the ages of 18 and 35. We don't see that. Dove is buying ad time in the Super Bowl for the first time in 18 years. They're buying an advertisement in the Super Bowl. We haven't seen this, and it's all because of one person who happened to be in attendance at the game.
Do you think they'll pick the Niners if we ask them who they like in the game?
Doubtful. I mean, I saw someone wearing, I'm in my Chiefs era T-shirt today.
Oh,
people who have been diehard fans of like the Jets and the Patriots that I know are now watching this game because of the Chiefs.
Wow.
The love of Travis and Taylor is so pretty and cute. Blah. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoa.
No. Let's talk football. Let's talk engagements, please. Friday night. What's up? Don't move. Dave, back more here. InGame Live next.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We got a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing 1 touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with 1 touchdown pass. Hey, I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Jordan Clarkson is a walking bucket. He will shoot you in games. He will shoot you out of games. But he is the perfect 6'9",
man for a team looking for bench production. A guy that can go get his own shot.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the rack. And it was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you can talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like, OKC just rolling into Detroit, going, yeah, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It is a Friday night. Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault with you here on SportsGrid InGame Live. We're going to talk some NBA basketball, take a look at the scores around the association as we roll here. Hawks are up by 3 on the Suns here in the second quarter, which is somewhat surprising. But Joel Embiid's injury is still a very big topic of conversation. Dr. Chow was on Coast to Coast earlier today talking about the meniscus injury and what this might do to Embiid with the MVP market.
Yeah, they're being coy. They're saying the MRI says meniscus injury, but it's the same knee that he had a lateral meniscus tear on about 5 years ago where he had a scope. So this is a re-injury to the same lateral meniscus. So you have to hope that, boy, it's just MRI signal and it's not that bad. But the fear is that he may end up needing up again, and that will knock him out for a while. And certainly at this point in time, his MVP hopes are done because he's not going to play the minimum 65 game.
So, Dave, if Embiid has surgery and he's gone for 6 to 8 weeks to get him back for the postseason, MVP race is over for him, correct?
Oh, yeah. Now with this NFL or NBA requirement of 65 games, you just take him off the board. It's a loss. I mean, there's no use leaving him up and taking bets on him. So you can leave him up and put the dash through it. That's it. And he was charging. He was, second choice behind Jokic. And now it's a complete adjustment with what you have to do in the book. The odds would indicate that it's a 2-person race right now. But I don't even want to say it out loud because we got Knicks fans watching. We got Knicks fans getting excited about what they're doing. But see, Jalen Brunson at 50-1, Perrault, is there a little value there? What he's doing? I think that number is going to come down. Is it not?
It should come down, but I think I said to you earlier on BVB, if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm very concerned about peaking too soon. And I want to see what the All-Star break does to this team because they're rolling. They're the hottest team in the league. They've won 15 of 17 games. Bronson went for 40 points in his last game out. It was tremendous. But it's February. We're playing in the playoffs in June. We got a ways to go here. And the MVP race, if he plays like this the rest of the year, absolutely he'll be in the conversation and he could very well win the thing. But the East is an absolute mess. The Lakers beat the Celtics last night as 15-point dogs without AD or LeBron. That is just that's just unacceptable in so many levels, but it shows you where the East is because, Boston's the best team in the East, but after that, I don't trust Milwaukee. I think the Knicks are a team that's peaking too early. Cavaliers are a team I don't trust. The Sixers are pretty much toast for the race to win the East, I think, if Embiid's hurt significantly. No, come on. I mean, if Embiid's knee is bothering him, they're going to have him on a restriction when he comes back for minutes, and it's just wiped this year off the board for Philadelphia. So that leaves what? Do you trust the Bucks? Doc Rivers? Come on. Do you trust the Celtics? No. I mean, Boston's biggest competition is Boston. They're a mental case. They can't play the way you would expect a team with that much talent to play. They have a second-year head coach in Joe Mazzulla, who last year, fine, got them to a Game 7 against Miami, but still was down 3-0 to Spoelstra. The best coach in the East is still Eric Spoelstra. I still think there's value in Miami futures.
They don't have the tools in the toolbox. I don't think Miami's deep enough for at least right now. And
if they trade Jimmy Butler, they're not going to be. I mean, if they get rid of Jimmy, then, forget it. That's punting on everything if they trade Jimmy Butler.
That's the thing that's coming up right now, right? As we approach the trade deadline and there's a big move, we still don't know what that big move is going to be, but we've heard rumors. And then LeBron's agent quelled all the rumors today, said he's not getting traded. So who is? Is somebody getting moved? I don't know. But you look at that odds
Jimmy on the Knicks? How about Jimmy on the Knicks?
Jimmy on the Knicks? Oh, man. Jimmy would be good on the Knicks. That would really.
I'm not sure. I don't know if Miami would give him inside the Eastern Conference or not. But,
right? I don't know.
No, I'm not. I don't know. But if I had to place, if I was going to place a bet on the Knicks to win the East, I would need Jimmy Butler to be on the Knicks. You put Jimmy Butler in New York. Okay. Now we're talking.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's wow. My mind's racing. I'm trying to think what I would move the number to. What would I put them a lot closer to Milwaukee, or would I move Milwaukee back a little bit more and Boston a little bit more to get more money right there? So plus 125, plus 220. And then what do you make the Knicks if they make that move? Because the Knicks, there's only three teams right there. You see it. There's only three teams that are less than 10-1.
Yeah, I would put them the same odds as Milwaukee.
You would move it that much?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a guy who I know in the postseason can get it done, who won't be afraid of anything. If anything that happens, Jimmy Butler will be 100% locked in.
Guys like Jack, who've been in the Garden and go to Ranger games, and could go to Knicks games, and get our buddy Tony, and he goes, and he's partial season ticket holder for the Knicks. They will be – that place was buzzing last night. If they get Jimmy buckets in a Knicks uniform, they're going to be bringing back the chants and all the things that they will – wow. You got me thinking now.
But as a Celtics fan, the most enjoyable thing other than Boston winning is watching the balloon pop for the Knicks. I mean, that's just pure joy. To watch that happen. Yep. To watch the bing bong balling is awesome.
No. Did you do the bing bong? Oh boy,
it's phenomenal.
Here we go.
It happens every single spring. It's just I need a good saying the leaves fall in the spring for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I need the Knicks thing, the bings, because the same thing happens. Comes the spring, all the fans get all jumping around the streets. They start doing those dumb social media videos, and then they're out. It's like they play one series and it's goodbye.
They get stronger. If they get the first round matchup and they win and are one of the final four in the East, oh man, it gets to be something.
More.
I know there's others, right? A lot of the Knicks are playing a lot of under games. They're playing good defense.
Yeah. You expect that. I mean, look, Brunson is the one guy. If he goes for 30, 35, obviously it's a huge boost because defensively, just the way that they're built, they play solid defense. They rebound the basketball. I mean, give them 105 points last night to Indiana. Indiana currently, what do they have? Let's see. So far, the Pacers have scored 52 with 6 to play in the third quarter. I mean, they scored 105 last night, and they're at 52 with 6 to play in the second quarter.
Yeah.
I mean,
you talked about that game being an under game this morning. So,
no, I was completely and totally wrong about that. Yeah, I mean, the Pacers on a back-to-back with minutes. I want to see when Halliburton hits his minutes restrictions, what happens here, because it's 262.5. I lead under 247. So obviously I'm way off. But
Toast. Yeah, probably toast.
Well, probably. But let's see what happens when Halliburton hits that number, when he has to sit, because he only played 22 minutes last night. So they have him on a minutes restriction. And when that happens, things change. He's set entire fourth quarters before. So you take him out.
Okay.
So you take him out of the game, and let's see what ends up happening here. Let's see what the pace looks like. So I'm on a money line parlay. I took the Suns money line on the road against the Hawks, and I took who was the other side of that I took?
Houston Rockets.
The Rockets. Yes. How'd you know that? How did you know that?
I talked to you more hours than I talked to my wife.
I
looked
that?
at the board and I saw you
cheese,
scrambling.
That's actually spooky that you just did that. Jack, I didn't tell him I made that bet. I swear on my life. It's crazy that you just put that out. Of all the teams to pick, you thought that was the one that I would pair up with the Suns. That's crazy.
I've been in this business a long, long time. You got to know your customer. I know you better than you know yourself.
Woo! That's amazing. So go Suns and go Hawks. It's a plus 153 parlay, by the way, on that. More to come.
The Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing one touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with one touchdown pass. Hey, I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can tell you, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Jordan Clarkson is a walking bucket. He will shoot you in games. He will shoot you out of games. But he is the perfect sixth man for a team looking for bench production. A guy that can go get his own shot.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the Rack. And it was tight.
You still have to win these games. You can talk about even equate it to the NBA. OKC just rolling into Detroit, going this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
InGame live on a Friday night. What's up? Dave Sharapan, Matt Perrault with you guys here for the next hour and a half or so. NHL All-Star Game festivities underway. Dave, we're talking about during the break. Were you ever timed on how fast you could hit, how hard of a slap shot you had? Do you know?
Yeah, never. We didn't do that. I wish we would have, because there was a year when everything was really right that I really could shoot it really hard, but I was always the passer and the good snapshot guy. I didn't have the good slap shot. That was more reserved. Back then, it was the point guys that used to fire rockets like that. We used to just get in front and, try to tip it and, quick shots. It wasn't a part of the arsenal back then. I'm old enough to use a wooden stick. Like it was, your sticks would break. You had wood, and now they have
break
these
now,
like,
though.
well, they break now, but they
Carbon
cost $300 to $500 a stick, and they bend to like even the guy that got the worst shot on the team shoots it like 90. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody has a good shot now, where it was the exception back then. If you don't have a good shot, you can't play in the league. So, I just got a text from JY from Coach James Young. He's talking.
Hi, Coach.
He said, start recognizing the Knicks. He said he's going to have to come on the show at some point and
recognizing
talk about,
New York in
basketball.
what way? Like, what's the recognition?
That they're actually,
until you do it,
an Eastern Conference champion contender. That's what they want to hear. They're going to win the East.
What do you always say? What do you always say? The windows are open.
Windows open.
Windows are open.
The windows open.
That's my answer. That's my answer to the Knicks are an East Conference contender. Okay, windows open. Go right ahead. It's just go right ahead. Go bet that. Congratulations. You'll be hedging off of it when they're down 3-0 to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Go right ahead.
How focused are you right now on this Iowa and Ohio State game? Because while Jack and I were talking hockey a little bit, you were lamenting something in the background.
Well, yeah, I'm just frustrated because Ohio State is not a very good basketball team. And watching Ohio State play Iowa, you would think that they're like North Carolina good. Like the ball movement, like they're missing dunks. Iowa just missed a dunk and a guy landed on his butt. Like this is a weird – this Iowa team at home is a much better team than the Iowa team on the road. But they're down by 3, 54-51. I laid 5. And it's just remarkable to watch Iowa defensively. The offense is bad, but Ohio State's going to take the air out of the ball because they're not going to run with Iowa. I knew that.
Right.
I just didn't think Iowa's defense was going to be this. It's like a Matador defense. They're allowing Ohio State to get to the rim as much as they want. Not funny. This is not funny.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking we've talked about conferences and stuff all week, and we start looking at college basketball futures this week. When we don't have football on the weekend, we have all these monster matchups tomorrow and all these different things. We've been talking about this North Carolina Duke game for a couple days. You're not leaving the house tomorrow. You've already declared that. If anybody wants to come by, they got to drop it off at the front of the house. Just leave it. You may not even open the door. Just get food. Come by your college basketball from beginning to end. But like Creighton's playing tonight, and they have been. What at home? You got the stat. They haven't covered a game at home since New Year's?
23. Since 23. The last time they covered a game was in 23. They have not covered a home game so far in 2024. And they look, I mean, everybody keeps on betting them. The number was 9, 10, 11. I don't know if it's hit 11 and a half or not yet here, but it's been one-way action on the Jays against Butler tonight, and I couldn't disagree with it more. I think the Jays are going to win the game tonight, but they don't have that knockout punch at the moment to blow somebody off the court unless they're hitting every 3 they take. They can do it. They just haven't done it at home. So I wouldn't be comfortable laying 11 points. I mean, I took 9. I love 11. Like I love 10.5 here. I mean, Butler is going to play an up-tempo style. They're going to run. I love the over in this game. It's 147.5. That's what I bet last night. I think the over is the best play in the game because I do think we're going to see both teams go up and down with each other. The Jays generally want to play a slower tempo, but they shoot a lot of threes. Butler wants to run. So, and the Jays will run with teams that want to run. So I like the over.
I got good news and I got bad news. Okay. I don't know. Take it however you want. I know you don't believe in the line movement sometimes and the jinx and all this other stuff. So we saw it early this morning. We got the ground on the graphic. It went all the way up to 10.5, 11. It's back down to 10 or 9.5 in places. So it's coming back to your original number. Okay. That's number one. But number two, I just hit refresh on my odds screen. It's down to 145 with the total. The total's coming down, which
I wonder what
is kind of opposite of the thinking. So I don't know how you feel about being on what side of what. And I don't think taking 9 was the worst thing in the world because it's coming back to that number. So I don't know if
let me tell you the numbers.
Playing, somebody is playing.
Yeah, that's my wonder. So the Jays, the last 3 games for Creighton have gone over. They went over at home against DePaul, home against Xavier, on the road against Seton Hall, 3 straight. Mm-hmm. For Butler, over against Villanova by 29.5, over against Georgetown by 10.5. The DePaul game at home went under, but that's because they won the game by 14. Over against Xavier, over against Seton Hall. 4 of the last 5 games, and 7 of the last 10 for Butler have gone over. They're 7-3 to the over in the Big East this season, and they're 6-3 away from home to the over. Butler's going to play an up-tempo style.
Okay.
Now, I think the reason why it's coming down is because KenPom has it at 144. So I think you're seeing people bet off of the projection. Normally, when you see that big of a discrepancy between KenPom and the line, whether it be the total or the side, people tend to bet that. So I think they're saying there's 3 points of value there. Go ahead and take the under at 144, or 147.5, because the projection's 144 for this game. So it's an 8-point win for the Jays is what KenPom has it at. Number has rocketed up. So coming back down means people might be betting the KenPom number. And then I think they're betting the total from KenPom as well to come back down, because all the trends would tell you this game is probably going to, I don't say fly over, but this game's got a good shot of going over.
Okay.
I
just
was
wanted
up
to
4,
give
by
that
the way.
out before.
No,
the game.
I mean, look, I think take the dog. If you can get 10, I would take 10 with Butler.
Right.
I think again, to run through the numbers for the Jays at home in general. DePaul at home in the last game, they laid 24, won by 23. Xavier, they're laying 7.5, they won by 7. Home against St. John's, they were 6.5-point favorites, they won by 1. Home against Providence, they were laying 11, they won by 9. That's how this game's going to go. Home for Villanova, laying 9.5, lost the game outright. Home for Alabama, laying 7.5, won the game by 3. Last time they covered a home game was in Central Michigan on the 9th of December, 2023.
That was before we actually saw them play in person here in Las Vegas at that game against UNLV.
The very next game we saw them play.
Right.
And they're laying 13.5. They lost by 15.
They lost outright. That was just, everything went bad that night for them.
We were there for the worst performance of the year.
I don't want to say that we were the jinx, but I wore all the baby blue that I could.
You did.
It didn't help anything.
No.
Sometimes what happens, like from the odds maker standpoint or the risk room standpoint or whomever's doing it, you get a good read on a team early, and that number kind of follows you around with that team. I think the odds makers have nailed Creighton for who they are a lot of times with the side. Those numbers are falling close. They're getting, 7.5, it falls 7. 11, it falls 10. There's been a couple, misses, but that's because Creighton either loses or barely wins. But these numbers are tight, and they're getting tighter. This is the opportunity for a lot of people. Super Bowl weekend, 150-plus games tomorrow. Find your spots tomorrow, because everybody's looking at props. And then next week, over the weekend, when the game's getting ready to start, find those spots, because after next Sunday, that's when it gets really hard. As we approach March, the numbers get tight. The totals get tighter. It gets hard to win in that.
So Butler beat Villanova in their last game, which was a big win. They're 1.5-point favorites. They won by 7.
Oh, hello. Well, that's it. Sometimes Matt freezes. Sometimes he doesn't. I'm still here. That's good to know. All right. So Matt got interrupted.
Just a quick one. DePaul laying 16.5. They won by 14. So they've won 3 games in a row. Okay. They've won 3 games in a row outright. I think Butler's going in there. I have seen this too many times. I've covered this Creighton Blue Jay team since 2004. Seen this way too many times.
You're not saying this. Are you saying a win?
They could lose this game outright tonight. Yeah, they could lose this game outright tonight. Yeah.
Jack,
It's a
I gotta
weekend.
put the
The,
list of
the
classes
only
on
reason
this.
why I'm going to say they're not going to lose it outright is because it's a Friday night and the Jays don't play many Friday night games. Normally they play Saturday games. So playing at night means the entire building is drunk. So it's just going to be a rocking atmosphere.
It's not even an expression. You actually mean like
The entire building
loaded
is going
up,
to be drunk.
ready to go.
100%. The entire building is going to be loaded up and drunk. So what ends up happening is that like people who are drinking a lot and they're upset with their team losing, you tend to get a really rocking, crazy atmosphere. And sometimes it goes against the Jays because they are missing shots and turning the ball over.
No.
The home crowd can turn. They can turn on the Jays in moments like this. So I've just seen it enough. This is not always like a great thing for the Jays when they play Friday night games because people do get loose and get mad and start getting angry and mad, and sports betting is legal now. And yeah,
Oh boy.
So if Butler is in this game with like 5 minutes to go, Jays could lose this game outright. I mean, again, they're favored by 9.5 against Nova, and they lost by 2. Up by 5, Iowa, 61-56. My bet's live. Take a look at some more college basketball scores on the other side. In-game live on our Friday night. Matt and Dave with you here on SportsGrid.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing 1 touchdown pass, right? He can't win MVP with 1 touchdown pass. Hey, I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's 1 game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So like Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Jordan Clarkson is a walking bucket. He will shoot you in games. He will shoot you out of games. But he is the perfect 6th man for a team looking for bench production. A guy that can go get his own shot.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the rack. It was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you can talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like OKC just rolling into Detroit going, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live Friday nights. Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault with you guys here on SportsGrid. Thanks for hanging on out with us. We're watching NBA basketball, college basketball, Iowa and Ohio State. That game coming down to about 7 minutes to play there. It's about a 2-point lead for Iowa. I laid the 5 with the Hawkeyes at home, so we'll monitor that. Halftime, Atlanta is up by 3 on the Suns. A little bit of a surprise there. Kevin Durant's got 16 points. I took his over 25.5 points in that one, so we're trending in the right direction. It is down to 255.5 at halftime, Dave, for the Kings and the Pacers. 71-64. Pace is slowing here. I went under 247. Not saying I'm alive, but I'm not totally dead. Not
You are
totally
100%
dead.
live. No, you're 100% live. That was a good finish to the first half because it was way over pace. So
Yeah.
we've seen it happen in the NBA before. There can be lulls and there can be these scoring spurts. You got the lull you needed back in the game, slow start in the third. You may be able now. Would you consider if it gets below 247 going over
100%.
just to
Get
okay.
out 100%.
Right.
I would get
We'll
out of
keep
this.
an eye on it.
I
Okay.
will get out of the bet. The second I can get to 247, I will get out of the bet. I won't even try to be greedy. I won't even be greedy. Like, I don't even just get me out of the bet. Like, let me just punt on it because I'm playing with fire on it. And I know I'm playing with fire on it. So I don't want to, if I can get out, I'll get out. I want to see how many minutes Halliburton has played so far. So
Rockets are up 39-25, by the way. Good start to that. Second quarter just started.
All right, so Halliburton's played 8 minutes, Dave. He's played 8 minutes so far total in this game. 7 points, 8 minutes. So I don't know how many points he's going to play. I mean, he's on a back-to-back. That might be it. He didn't start. He came off the bench. They don't want to play him. So this is where I think the under is why I played the under. Because I just think without him, they're a different speed of team. They just don't play nearly as fast without Tyrese Halliburton on the floor. So 8 minutes, maybe he played that 8 minutes and it spurted up, went crazy, and then now they're sitting him back down, and you'll see how much he plays in the second half. But they are on a back-to-back, so that's one.
How about the Clippers, by the way, at Detroit? The Clippers are up, let me see here, 92-88, 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Might be time to take the I don't know if you want to lay 8.5. That's the current number right there. No?
Not 8.5. No, I'm not laying 8.5 points. No, with a road team. I don't care who it is.
The game closed 12, though. Like we're getting a bargain below 10. No?
Yeah. So, all right. So you mentioned the Rockets. It's 43-27 now. So that's looking well.
That's
healthy money line there. So now the Suns need to wake up a little bit. Suns are favored by 1.5 in the second half here, or in the game rather, now at halftime. So over the Hawks, the books are expecting it to come up. But 65-63, Iowa up by 2 with the ball here with 5.5 to play. Defensively, Iowa just can't get stops when they need it. But as long as they keep themselves, 3-4 points up here, I think free throws will come into play, and I may be able to get on. Cover the 5 here in this one. Let's talk about tomorrow a little bit here because I want to get your take. Who's in your mind? I know you haven't watched a ton of college basketball, but is there one team that you think is the best team right now in college hoops?
I don't think one team is the best team, but I think the good teams are the best teams. I just don't know. Like, I can't single one out. So, like, North Carolina and Duke are both very good teams, I think.
Yep.
Purdue is a very good team. Are they a great team? No. I don't know because I don't like the Big Ten as much as some other people do.
Really?
I don't. I really don't. I think that I'm watching, like I watched a lot of Wisconsin and Nebraska yesterday, and I was like, man, what am I watching? Like they're not. Michigan State's down. Michigan's really down. Maryland and Penn State, not good. Indiana, hit and miss. Watching Ohio State and Iowa now. I'm watching it like just Northwestern at home. Yes, but not the same. I mean, competitive, but not that team.
Right.
I don't want to sound like a mark or anything, but like UConn is still good. UConn is still that team, and I know you think they're on upset alert tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the competition at the top of the Big East, very good. And I feel like their road tests are giving them that thing that builds, right? That's what I'm looking at as an odds guy. When we were in a book, it was the road games. You assume the home wins, and then the road tests. Lose a close one or win on the road, power rating moves. Win a home game, it had to be a super blowout or something had to happen for anything to really get adjusted. So
if I'm like picking which conference, if I had to pick a conference for the national championship to come out of, it would be the Big 12. But I think the Big East is going to be right there in the conversation. And how the bracket comes out, I'll be very curious. North Carolina is the best team in the ACC, but I'll be curious when it comes to like where they're going to be. They should be a 1 seed or 1 seed now, but if they're not, that could be difficult for them. I love what I've seen so far out of the top teams in the Big 12. And Houston tomorrow has an absolute monster test at Fall Allen Fieldhouse against Kansas. And people that I think are really sharp, people that I respect a lot, both from a pure basketball opinion and a betting opinion, are all putting up big caution signs on Kansas. Like they're an athletic team, but there's not really a team there. A lot of misfits, a lot of guys thrown together, a lot of transfers that have come on in. Dickinson's a great big, but if Houston goes in there and pushes them around, I'm not going to be surprised in the least if the Cougars go in there and win at Fall Allen tomorrow.
See, and I'm saying I think I'd rather take the points. I'd rather take the points right now. Only because, we got guys that watch the show religiously and they give us these ideas and statements and the lulls that Houston goes through. True. I think there'll be an opportunity to lay less or take points tomorrow during the game than laying at 4 on the road, which it is, right now. Look in on St. Bonaventure and Dayton, by the way. We had mentioned that to Jack to have a board ready. I just took a peek at it. 5.5 minutes left. Dayton leads 57-54. Remember when Dayton was good and when Dayton was a team that was like a legitimate shot? I never forget. It was a few years ago when Dayton started the season 200-1, came down to 150, 100, single digits. He got all the way down, and then the tournament got canceled and COVID happened and all that other stuff. But it's like a team like who's this year's Dayton? Who's this year's team that like expectations were almost nothing before the season? And now we're talking about them being a legitimate, making a run, going. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Like there's not one of those teams that I'm going, you know what? Like we saw Florida beat Kentucky.
I think if you're looking for teams, like are we talking about mid-majors or power conference teams that didn't have the expectations they do now?
I think if you can come up with one or the other, that'll be impressive. But a power conference team that we didn't see coming, that's one answer.
I would say BYU. BYU would be that team that we didn't see coming. Yeah, if you were talking about a team that you didn't see be a top 10 KenPom team, first year in the Big 12, kind of out of nowhere, really one Provo hard place to play, but a team that's got the experience, the shooting, and the toughness to go and beat pretty much anybody on any given night would be BYU. Yeah, BYU is going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem in the dance. I mean, they are. No one's going to want to play them at all, and the expectation level was pretty low on them. They're 15-5. They've gone off to a really good start, and they're going to get a bunch of like marquee wins as we go. They beat Texas in their last game, which was a nice win for them. They've beaten Iowa State this year. They've beaten Central Florida. They lost to Houston, but they played them tight and tough at their place.
No shame in that. There's no shame in losing.
Houston, they were in the game. Yeah. Houston just outlasted them, and they just went through one of the scoring lulls. Houston just got in, threw up, they clamped down on BYU scoring. I think they closed the game on like an 8-2 run or something to win and to cover. I was on BYU in that game. I like BYU a lot. From a mid-major perspective, it gets a little bit more difficult, but FAU still is the team that most people would jump onto because of the Final Four run they had last year out of the American. They think they could be kicking around.
Right, and they're going to win their conference, are they not? Like, that's the team.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell you this, though.
Oh, he's wagging his finger.
I think this – you want to talk about Cinderella? look to the Mountain West Conference for someone out of nowhere to make the Final Four.
I was trying to get it out before you said it. I was going to go, well, you know what conference that I think people didn't see coming, and you are leading the charge, cheerleading out here, but also nationally, is the Mountain West. I was going to say that's your pick. Give me the team, not San Diego State. Give me the team out of the Mountain West that is going to maybe, is it Nevada? They play tonight against San Jose State. No.
It's Utah
Boise
State.
Just beat New Mexico. Big game.
Utah State. If you want to talk about a team that could make a run, the team that could kick around and really make some noise, Utah State's 29th on KenPom. Their non-conference isn't good enough. I mean, it's sort of a frustration with some of these teams because they're 19-2, but they've played pretty much nobody. Like that's why they'll probably shock some people because it'd be like, well, yeah, who did they actually play? But no, Utah State's actually a really good team. It's just their schedule strength is just nothing to really jump up and down about. I mean, they haven't played enough non-conference games. Their schedule strength is 105th in college basketball. So it's not
Where
like
does
they
the schedule strength or things come up for the SEC teams seem obvious, but we got a lot of friends watching the show, JC, Stevie Mack, and all these people. South Carolina. Everybody's giving us South Carolina, and they just had another big win this week. Are they a team that you would go, hey, they've done it before? They've had runs where they've gotten to the Elite Eight, right?
I would say it's them. No? It's them or Ole Miss. I mean, if you want to talk about SEC teams that could make a Cinderella run, them and Ole Miss. I mean, you're talking about an 18-3 Ole Miss team, and then you're talking about a team for South Carolina who's also 18-3. The only losses for South Carolina are Clemson, Alabama, Georgia. They've beaten everybody else. So they'll play Ole Miss coming up here on the 6th of February. Ole Miss has lost to Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn, and that's it, and they've beaten everybody else. So I think South Carolina, I mean, they don't play home games, but at home, South Carolina's a really big problem. Like you aren't walking in there. Kentucky went in there and lost by 17 points. I mean, Kentucky got housed by South Carolina on the road. Right. So they're really tough. They play a grinded out style. They hit key shots and they're just physical. Look what they did to Tennessee. They're just physical. So yeah, I mean, if I was looking for a crazy long shot, Ole Miss is one. South Carolina also crazy long shot you can jump in on just because of the way they play. It's the non-conference neutral court that gives me pause with both of them. That like once you start playing outside your conference, I'm like, can you play the same way you're playing now against teams that you know in the non-con in the dance? But it's going to be awesome. This year for March Madness, it is so wide open. If you're not buying tickets, buy $10 flyers on 180-1 teams because you very well might be able to hedge off of it in the Final Four or Final Eight. Friday night, we got a lot more to come. Don't move. Matt and Dave with you here on SportsGrid.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing one touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with one touchdown pass. Hey, I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Jordan Clarkson is a walking bucket. He will shoot you in games. He will shoot you out of games. But he is the perfect sixth man for a team looking for bench production, a guy that can go get his own shot.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the rack. It was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you can talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like, OKC just rolling into Detroit, going, yeah, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Iowa coming down to the wire, up one, double dribble called on Ohio State, a foul and free throws to be coming here for the Hawkeyes. Gonna need to survive this, Dave. It's in-game live. Matt Perrault and Dave Sharapan with you. I'm not dead. You're gonna foul, 2 free throws, gotta hit them both, and a missed 3, foul, hit 2, and then survive a buzzer. That's how this is gonna go. I'm just hoping for a push. I'm hoping for a push.
Fair. I heard the frustration in your voice. I heard the sigh when I came back from filling up my water in between the break. The people watching the show in the chat can feel it as well. You got a lot to happen here in the last 24 seconds. So,
okay. So foul, 21.2 to play. So we'll see how that's going to happen with free throws coming. They fouled McCaffrey, I think. So that's a good thing. So good free throw shooter coming up here for the Iowa Hawkeyes with 21.2. But he hits both. We're going to need, Iowa is a 77% free throw shooting team, second in the Big Ten. That's why I bet them. That's why I like betting teams to cover home numbers when they hit free throws. So this is why I bet on Iowa. Hit your free throws here. Tomorrow, they're doing a Caitlin Clark cam, Dave, for the Iowa State game.
One of the coolest things ever. I just
really
listen.
All in on this.
How can you not? How can you not? As the father of one daughter, the father of 3, just seeing someone do this and getting mainstream stuff, I love it. I just hope it's not ends up being too much for whatever her next thing is. Because she's living the rock star life right now. Owns the whole joint, the whole Midwest, all of women's sports. We're putting it all on her, giving her a cam. I mean, I want to see a Perrault
and sponsored.
Cam.
It's a sponsored cam and sponsored. It's a cam and it's sponsored tomorrow for the game against. I think they're playing Maryland tomorrow on Fox.
They play Maryland tomorrow. Yeah.
Caitlin Clark cam tomorrow. Unbelievable. We'll find out the end of this Ohio State-Iowa game next. It's a quick one, buy and a high, hour 2 next here on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
In-game live prime time, hour 2. It's a 3-point lead for Iowa. Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault. They just called the tickiest of tackiest blocking call on Iowa to give Ohio State 2 free throws. I mean, just let them play. There's 13 seconds to go in this game. Just let them play the game. Like, what are we doing?
Not happy. Not happy.
So now we're in the same situation. We're in the same situation, by the way, though. It's the same deal. So if you're just joining us, Iowa was up 1, foul, 2 free throws. This is going to be a same situation, a foul shot to cut it to 1 for Ohio State, and then a quick foul is coming. So they hit it here. Quick foul is going to come, and then we're going to wind up. Wow, they waited a long time to foul McCaffrey. They didn't want to foul him, but they did foul him. So 2 free throws, 11.2 to play. Same thing's going to happen, right? So it's going to hit 2 free throws, and I'm going to have to survive whatever happens on the other end, hope for a miss on a blocking call. Mr. Referee, please let them play the game. Please, Mr. Referee. And then miss the 3. See, up 3, though, here's, okay, Dave, coach, do you foul up 3?
Foul!
Yeah.
Foul.
As a gambler, as a bettor who has -5, I'm saying no foul. Don't foul. Let him shoot it. Let him miss it.
Foul.
You
That's
are
what I
100%.
mean.
I am on team foul. I am with.
Yeah.
I understand the philosophy, the theory. Don't let somebody beat you, because Kentucky lost to Florida at home because they didn't foul, and they let Florida shoot the game tying 3. Went to overtime, lost the game at home at Rupp earlier this week. Florida with their biggest win on the road in the last 20 years because they didn't foul.
That was one of those quad 1 win things you were talking about.
I thought you were going to talk about quad 1 wins. I thought you were against that.
No, Jack was on the other night working. He knows about the quads and the different quadrants, 1, 2, all that other stuff. You need a free throw miss. You're not getting a free throw miss, huh? No, you're gonna.
Why? For Ohio State or Iowa? Which one?
At this point, are you rooting for a tie?
To overtime?
Like overtime? Yeah, overtime. I think you get there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I've been betting every day for 3 years, and like,
which is really insane when you really think about it. But go ahead, continue.
So like, I've become to the point where I'm just sort of like, I'm just sort of like, okay,
just
on
say
to
it.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like, people live and die with my picks, and I appreciate everybody who trails me and pays attention and listens to the stuff we do and BVB and everything else. Like, I and fade or follow, I don't care, just pay attention. But like, I had a really good week last week, and then I've had like a pretty, not a bad week, but kind of like I was good on Monday, bad on Tuesday, bad on Wednesday, okay Thursday, and so like now here I'm on to Friday, and like, I don't know. I don't want to say every day is the same, but like every day I'm sweating this out, asking a 19-year-old kid to do something that is going to be, sometimes he'll do it, sometimes he won't. And if this misses the next game, we'll just move on to the next game. Like, it just becomes like this rhythm of once it's almost like a starting pitcher who gives up a home run. Like, just give me another ball. Like, that ball's gone. Just give me a ball.
Just hold your glove up. Thanks, Blue.
Yeah.
Give me the ball.
Okay.
I'm going to throw another pitch. You
next pitch.
sound
next game.
like a grizzled veteran of an employee of a sports book. You literally just turn the page. You slide over to the next game. Did you see that game? What happened? Oh, yeah, I saw it. Were you upset? No, not at all. I don't get upset with this stuff anymore. We talk about it all the time. The picks are the picks. You win some, you lose some. There's times where like those wins feel really good, and there's other times where you're just like, I can't control it. It doesn't matter anyway.
It's so rare. It's so rare for me to have a win that feels better than how bad the losses feel. Like, it's so rare. The losses hurt so much worse. Kid missed a free throw. Wow. Foul, free throw miss for Ohio State. I don't know here. Hold on a second. We might, let's see if this kid's going to keep. All right, hold on here. 78-75 with 8 seconds to play. I need 5, by the way, in case you're curious. I laid 5 for Iowa. Right. So if this kid misses this free throw,
for a push right now. You'd sign for a push.
I would sign for a push, and he hit the second one. So it's going to fall. It's going to fall 4. So they fouled him. It's going to fall. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to 2 free throws. It's going to be 4. It may fall 1 or 2, but
Can
it's going
we
to be lost.
agree that the end of college basketball games just take forever? Like, I mean,
but it works so
we've been
often in
on
my
for an
favor.
hour.
Yes, but it helps me so much. So many times a bet will cash for that very reason. Because if you're playing totals, it's phenomenal. Foul, foul, foul. You can score 12 points in a minute. It's great.
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
if you're sitting there,
or
if,
like
if
the
a
other
total
night-
is on a hinge or is an under, and you're suffering, and you're literally crawling like under the table, going, "Please miss the free throw. Please miss the free throw." So
see, it's not good
Iowa
for the
missed
others.
the free. Hold on.
Oh,
Iowa missed the free throw. Overtime's possible. Up to free throw miss. They're going to foul again, but Ohio State's going to try to get a 3 off here. I might get to overtime. Hold on a second. Let's see what happens here. And it may be 2. He misses another one. He made it. So it's up 3, 7 seconds to go. Yeah, you got to just go ahead and crack. I mean, someone's going to foul somebody hard here if you're Iowa. And
tackle
they do.
somebody.
They did. They tackled him. I don't know if I agree. Like, this is where the NBA is better, okay? So Iowa set up like a shell around the 3-point line. And the driver, I forget who, I don't know the kid's name for Ohio State, was driving. In the NBA, you would put that ball up. Like you would go, you'd take the contact, and then you'd shoot, and you'd be in the act of shooting. College basketball rules are different. So you can just hit somebody, and there's no continuation in college basketball, which is always kind of annoying. Because now it's going to be a 1-point game with 4.5 seconds to go. You're going to foul immediately. You're not going to have enough time to get the ball down the other end again. You just get bled out. The clock just gets bled out in college basketball when you keep on doing this. So
yes, it does. Just
the
like
rules.
the total betting that you're talking about. The totals, the unders I've seen needed for years in the book going, we can't win this because of the fouls. And now you actually said you enjoy the end of these games. Sometimes the end of the games are so
goodness.
tough. Oh no, what?
The end of that game was complete chaos. So the kid missed the second free throw.
Betting on college basketball.
He missed it. It fell 2. The kid missed the free throw on purpose. The ball became a soccer ball. They started to kick the ball.
Oh,
it was being kicked around. 2 kids fell on the ball. 2 kids got pushed. No call. Ohio State was pleading for a call. No call.
Hold on. 20-second timeout. Alert. Pacers totals down to 247 right now. Make a move. Make a move on the break. Do what you got to do. You might actually win it. Maybe wait. You could get a middle if it goes to 244.
See,
get a 3-point middle.
The last time I was on the air with you, we tried doing this and I lost. I know better than this. We're going to punt in the break. I know better. Not getting greedy. Just get me out. Get me out of here. Well, we're not getting out of here. We're coming back.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing 1 touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with 1 touchdown pass. Hey, I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's 1 game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Jordan Clarkson is a walking bucket. He will shoot you in games. He will shoot you out of games. But he is the perfect 6th man for a team looking for bench production. A guy that can go get his own shot.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the Rack. It was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like, OKC just rolling into Detroit, going, yeah, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets and when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live on a Friday night. It is a hot start for the Creighton Blue Jays and the Butler Bulldogs, 5 apiece. 3 minutes gone in Omaha, Nebraska at the Chi Center. It used to be called something different that I'll call it, but Butler is ready to play. Creighton is ready to play. This could be fun. 147.5 was the closing total in the game. Actually, no, it went down. What was the closer? What was the closer? 144, you said? 145?
144 and a half. 144 and a half or 145. Yeah, either way.
What's the live right now? Because 15 points before we hit the first media timeout. So we're off to a quick start here.
148 and a half. Back up to
148 and a half. Okay. So we're going on with that. Okay. Very cool. So we'll monitor this game for us. I got 2 bets in this. I took +9 for Butler, and I am on the over 147.5 in this one. So we'll see. I don't trust the Creighton Blue Jays to cover this number, although the more that we see fouls being called on and ones for the Jays, the better. That's their second so far. 16-12 to go. We have 17 points with a free throw going. Yeah, we're off to a very good start from a total perspective
good start
here.
For the over.
With this one. Yeah. So we'll see how that winds up going. So I have a future on the Creighton Blue Jays. I took it at 30-1. I have a future on Marquette at 20-1. I have a future on Arizona at 11-1, and I have a future on North Carolina at 15-1. And I am going to start to shop the real long shots. And I'm going to start to take a look at some of these really longer odd teams because of how wide open this whole thing is. Purdue is interesting because remember when Virginia lost in the first round and went off to the championship the next year?
Yep.
Any way you think Purdue could do the same thing, losing as a 1 seed, turns around and wins it all? It's why Zach Edey came back.
There's a lot of people that we know that like Purdue. There's a lot of people that we know that watch Purdue. I know a lot of people who are looking to bet against Purdue again, but I think that you learn something from that. That leaves that scar, that leaves that tissue that you go when it feels like, all right, we've lost in this spot before, but we know better now. I think we'll see in the Big Ten tournament. Like, I feel like, and there's a lot of, like, what people say, meaningless games, and do they really need to win and all this other stuff now. I think for certain teams, for up here, mentally, they do need to win. I want to see Purdue win the Big Ten championship. I want to see them win the Big Ten tournament and go in going, we're here. We're good. We're back. And we're a 1 seed. Like, I don't think them being a 3 seed and having that difficult road put the pressure on us. Like, if you welcome the pressure and go in like that, I think you can. I think they can. But I've fallen for Purdue before. I mean, I've seen it happen.
Draw. Yeah, their draw is going to be so important as to who they wind up playing in the early part of the NCAA tournament, because they are vulnerable to quick, athletic young teams that can really bounce and shoot. And it's, they just play Big Ten basketball with a 7'4" kid in the middle, and they just throw the ball up. And they're better at 3-point shooting. They went out and got quickness in the transfer portal. They listened, they saw that, all right, they got some guards who can really get to the rim, and they got guys who can shoot. And, teams are going to have to collapse in on Zach Edey. I mean, you don't see 7'2", 7'3" very often in college basketball. But I would be so curious if, like, the Creighton Blue Jays and Ryan Kalkbrenner matches up in some way in the tournament, because you have 2 7-footers on the floor in college basketball. That'd be a really interesting situation, because they play so similarly. And Mac and Coach McDermott and Coach Painter are very similar, that they've shared assistant coaches in the past, guys who have gone back and forth between different staffs between the two. So I just think this is going to be a really fun year, with the opportunity for teams like Kentucky, teams like Tennessee, maybe to have a chance to rid themselves, like a Matt Painter. I mean, we talked about Tennessee. Okay, we talked about them, but
I know
I like Tennessee a lot, but I'm petrified of the head coaching history.
That's one
So you
I
like
just can't
Kentucky
advance.
tomorrow. So tomorrow you like Kentucky.
I do. Yeah,
man,
I do. I think it was a fluky loss, but
I got a spidey sense going off in my head with Tennessee. I feel like this is a bounce back spot after what they just went through, after the loss that Tennessee suffered, to go on the road, and then Kentucky loses in the way they lost to Florida. It's so rare to see them lose back-to-back games at Rupp, but man, I like Tennessee. I've liked Tennessee all year.
High alert right now on your total in the Pacers game. Okay.
Yeah.
You got your opportunity right now. I just hit refresh here. It's 243.5. You can completely bail and have a 3.5 point middle if you got under 247. So stop what you're doing before it moves. Now it just moved to 245.5 where I'm at. You got to be fast. I told you I was watching it. It went under 247. Do what you have to do. Other game in the NBA that I wanted to talk about quick. You got out? You're good?
I'm out. So I'm good. So not for my record, for the Daily Juice, my other podcast. And then for that record, everyone wants to keep that as is. That will count. I can't punt it, but myself, my own dollars, I just punted out of it. So I took over 245. So if it falls 246, we're good. So I have a 1 point middle.
Okay. All right. So a couple games at the half. The Rockets are beating the Raptors 66-47 at the half. That's a big number. Warriors lead by 10 over Memphis, 57-47 at the half. The Thunder, 73. The Charlotte Hornets have 42 points at the half. 42 points for an NBA team at the half. We're going to have Jack or Matty G, whoever's in the back at the controls, try to find out what's the lowest number of points a team has scored in the NBA at a half.
Ever? Or this season? That might be a season low. I don't know if it ever, but that's got to be a season low.
I don't know. That might be a season low, but like how much lower could the record be? 42 points.
I guarantee there's somebody in the 30s. I guarantee there's been an NBA team that scored in the 30s.
Not much lower. It can't be much lower.
38, 37, 38, somewhere. Oh, my gosh. 22 points is the record that is set in our year. 22 points.
What? That's it.
How many shots did they miss? Where they go 10 for 70? Holy wow.
Was there a shot clock? Were they playing like Hoosiers?
He said 2016. That's relatively recent. That's like not a long time ago. 8 years ago.
I can't believe it. Wow. What could have happened there other than the lid on the basket?
Suns and Lakers, 2016, 22 points. Suns scored 22 in that first half. So
wow. Okay.
Nowhere near the record. 43 is nowhere near the record. How about that? Appreciate the help with that. Crazy. All right. So we'll watch that. I need the Suns to win this darn game, though, for my 2-leg money line parlay. I got the Rockets. Rockets are crushing the Raptors. But my goodness, they're down by 5 as they go to the fourth quarter. Like, what is going on here? Phoenix? Like, come on.
It's Atlanta at home. We know Atlanta, one of the worst teams in the NBA, right against the spread, especially at home.
Straight up, too. They're 10-13 at home. They're horrible at home, straight up.
Yeah.
They lose. And we have a decent road team, 14-9 for the Suns. Suns have been playing well, as we know. I don't know. That's a
Clippers
frustrating.
Final, 136-125, another high-scoring game. which, again, we talked about earlier that high-scoring NBA games are fun. I think we could all agree that they're more fun than low-scoring NBA games. Game falls 11, though, 136-125. So that in-game, we were talking about it laying 8.5, which is better than laying the closing number of 12, which it did not cover. So the in-game has provided opportunities consistently. Denver against Portland tonight. Did you see that number pregame? Denver against the Trailblazers. Did you see what that
12.
thing closed?
No, what did it close at?
14.5 or 15.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw 12.
Like, at what point we're seeing these crazy numbers in the NBA? Do you just go, I'm throwing my hands up? Like last night, the Celtics got to 15. 15.
Right. By the way, 158.5, Creighton and Butler. We are off to a fast start. It's 16-15. Now it's 18-15. But I'm telling you, that number, Butler's not going anywhere. Butler is not going anywhere. Jays better be ready to play in this game. Butler's going to give them a test tonight at the Chi Center in Omaha. We got more to come. We even talk football at all. This is great. All basketball, in-game, live, match day, Friday night. Do not move. More to come here on SportsGrid.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing one touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with one touchdown pass. Hey, I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Jordan Clarkson is a walking bucket. He will shoot you in games. He will shoot you out of games. But he is the perfect sixth man for a team looking for bench production. A guy that can go get his own shot.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the rack. It was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you can talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like OKC just rolling into Detroit, going, yeah, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets and when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live on a Friday night. Matt Perrault and Dave Sharapan with you guys here on SportsGrid. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it. Dave, since everyone's coming here, and since talking about a game that's over a week away is not really something I want to be doing all that much at the moment, what is the quintessential Vegas thing? What is something that if people are coming to town, what is something that you've been here longer than me? I've been here 8 years. You've been here double that, more than. What is the quintessential Vegas thing in your mind for people to have? Like, what's the thing you got to do when you come to town to say you've been to Vegas?
Well, that's a couple different things. I think one, a lot of people will go. I mean, if you like heights, you got to go to the Stratosphere and overlook the whole city. You got to go up there.
Wait. Would you go to the Strat before you'd go to the High Roller?
No, I was going to say the other thing to do that and get that
I'm
view.
not sending anybody for their first time. I'm not sending them that part of town.
Well, no, it's such a unique view, and it's really high, and people, thrill seekers, love to take that ride and get out there. I've never done it.
Did you know that two of those rides up there have been shut down and they're not operating anymore? I didn't know that.
No.
There were 4 rides. Only 2 of them are operational now at the top of the Strat.
Yeah, well,
I'm not doing any of them.
I no. And I've done the High Roller. It's fun if you're afraid of heights.
If you do the High Roller, though, you have to go into a bar cart. The all-you-can-drink bar cart is tremendous. It is great. You have 45 minutes to consume as much alcohol as you possibly can.
Load up.
It's great. It is. I always tell people, if you're going to go party in Vegas, that's your opener. Your opener is to go there at like 8 o'clock. It's pitch black. Go look at the lights and go. And literally it's you and probably like 10 strangers and your party and other people all kind of pack into this bar. It's not great liquor. It doesn't matter. You just go, and it's like when you were in college and you're just like forming a line and it's just going around and around and around. Order a drink, go in line. Order a drink, go back in line. And just to get as fast. And for 45 minutes, it's good bang for your buck. It is. And then you come out and you're completely lubed up and you're good to go.
This is true. All of what Matthew just said is true. That's you. I'm not advocating it, but if you want to do that, that's true. We got guys in the chat suggesting picture with the Vegas sign. You do that.
No,
it's a little bit over.
No, that's something your wife and girlfriend wants to do. You do not want to. No, 86 that, guys. No. Horrible idea. Awful idea. Awful idea. No. One, the line's ridiculous. 2, it's filled up with people who want to try to they want to take your phone to take a picture, and then they'll hold your phone and they'll make you pay them to get your phone back. No.
Okay.
Yeah. That is not. I do not. The Vegas sign. I get it. If you get married in Vegas, I think having your wedding pictures at the Vegas sign is pretty cool. I think that would be different to have the wedding party and to have bride and groom shots. That would be cool. Other than that, I don't think the Vegas sign really does a whole lot for me in terms of it's no longer like the iconic thing that it used to be in my mind. So I would say avoid
Someone
that.
else suggested the fountains at Bellagio. Come out and take a picture with the fountains, but they're going to look a lot different.
Yes. They're messing with them so badly.
It's going to be hard to get a shot of the fountains this week because the fountains are only available to be seen from the back because the Super Bowl setup, the CBS Sports setup is there. They're doing all of the shows. Like Drew Barrymore is doing the show from there. Like all day long programming. They're doing the show from there. The CBS morning show from there. They came and they took over.
Oh my gosh!
So they're doing 12 hours of programming during the day, apparently, 6 hours of programming, something during the day, and then the whole weekend. Yeah,
that's going to be awesome. I'm excited to see that. That's really cool.
TV. Yep.
Nice.
That'll be good.
The Bellagio fountains are definitely something you should see.
What about Fremont Street? I think you need to go see Fremont Street at least some point with the canopy and the light show. I mean, it's a bit of a circus. You're talking about getting loaded up on the High Roller.
I just
go down there a little bit.
I'm laughing because I'm trying to say, how do I want to avoid certain shops that look like one thing and they're really not? And you might get where you might walk in thinking you're going to buy something and you're not actually buying authentic things that you want to be buying. So just be careful when you're on Fremont Street.
Oh yeah,
You got to be careful with the fake shops because that green plus doesn't mean what you think it means. But maybe I would say that Fremont Street, depending on if you like. So I'm from New England. There is in New Hampshire, there is a place called Seabrook, and Seabrook has a boardwalk, and this boardwalk is just sort of like this like seedy arcade games that you need tetanus shots after playing type of thing. Like that's kind of how I feel about Fremont Street, that it's kind of just like, it's fun to go, but I don't think you should, like, if you're going to go downtown, you should go downtown for two reasons. One, the bars are the best in town. And two, the restaurants are some of the best in town that no one talks about. Like real Vegas people, like that's where we go. Like the bars. If you are, my best recommendation is, I tried taking people who come into town. I had a friend who came into town and we couldn't go to it because I couldn't get a reservation to get into it. But there's a speakeasy down there called the Laundry Room. It's an actual converted it's an old laundry room from the El Cortez. But it's like a real speakeasy. They don't have anything in the pre-Prohibition era. Like you can't go in there and order a Jack and Coke because there's no Coke. You can't order it. So like I love experiences like that. My favorite restaurant in town is down there. Carson's Kitchen is downtown. Like you have to explore the city. If you get off the strip and like really get off the strip and you talk to a Vegas local, like we can point out so many cool places that makes this city more than just like the crazy. But I will say this. Resorts World and Fontainebleau are two brand new properties that are absolutely gorgeous. And not overly crowded at the moment. It will be crowded. Every place will be crowded, but not as crowded as some of the other places because it's still an unknown as to like everyone's going to be at MGM Grand and everyone's going to be at Bellagio. So those are two things I would say definitely check out. Fontainebleau is gorgeous. Every time I go, I've been there 3 times now. It's a gorgeous. It's $5 billion.
Yeah.
Do you?
The architecture is nice. All that stuff. There's shows that I think you need to see. We'll be at Resorts World on Thursday. Come by and see us. I mean, they can come by and say hello to us on Thursday night. That'll be fun. We'll be at the sports book, so that'll be good.
When you look to gamble, and you went through a time period when you really looked to gamble a lot on table games.
Yeah.
Did it matter to you? Did you shop 6 to 5 blackjack? Do you matter that like how it is? Like, do those things make a difference to you?
Yeah, when you're doing it at the level that you're very serious about it, you have to have the odds at least close to working in your favor. You can't do it at odds. And listen, you need to know the difference between zero roulette, double zero roulette, triple zero roulette. There's double deck blackjack.
Who's playing
blackjack? Everything in between. I don't know. I don't know who's playing it.
Roulette.
People are. Yeah, it's too much. It increases the house edge. Try to find the higher times on the craps tables. Listen, the Tropicana is closing. This is it's closing in April. I'm not recommending going there, but like people collect chips. You may want to go by the Trop and pick up a chip because it's the next time you're going to see it after you leave, it will be falling to the ground. It's gonna be blown up. You know, I've lived here long enough to see places blown up, reinvented. The volcano at the Mirage, did they say that they're lighting that back up again? I like for this week.
For this week. Yeah. And then it's going away. And then it'll be gone. And
the big Dorito chip that the Luxor's become. Do you need to go see that?
You do not. No, you do not. Absolutely not.
You
no.
really don't.
I'm telling you right now, the level of whining on Media Row for the Excalibur and for the Luxor is going to be the funniest thing. I'm telling you right now, everyone who's on mic who is staying at one of those two properties, the Luxor is haunted. Just FYI, it's 100% haunted. I don't believe in this stuff, but I do believe in that. It is a haunted hotel, straight up haunted. And I'm telling you, go watch it. I watched enough TikTok videos. I'm like, this place is straight up haunted. I don't believe in it, but it's haunted. People are gonna hear weird things. You're gonna hear things falling and things like people walking in hallways and they're not actually there. You get knocks on doors, no one's there. Like if you're a ghost hunter, you're gonna live staying at the Luxor. It's right up your alley. But I think it's going to be a very interesting week next week to have everybody come here into town. I just hope everyone behaves, because the last time we did something like this, it was totally new and fast. It was the NBA All-Star game, and it did not go well.
So, but the NFL's been here and did the draft. It wasn't nearly as many people, but they did the dry run. So it's going to be fine.
This is different, right? This is different.
This is very different. Yes,
this is the
very
Super
different.
Bowl.
I'm just
in a condensed, because the difference between our last two trips to LA and Phoenix was everything was really spread out for LA and Phoenix.
Yeah, this ain't spread out. No.
This is not spread out. We are compact.
This is not
we
spread
are everything, including the game, the hotels, the parties, are all going to happen within a 5-mile radius of each
except
other.
where the teams are staying.
Except
the teams are staying 25 miles away.
Teams are on the
they
moon.
got them
Yeah,
at Lake Las Vegas. You should go out there, actually, and see that place. That's very scenic.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a summer trip to me, though. People come out in the summer. Lake Las Vegas is unbelievable in the summer. It's awesome. Go on a boat. You go out. That's the thing. We have water here in Vegas. I was playing in the snow last night. I was up Mount Charleston playing in the snow with my daughter last night.
That's a lot of cool things here too. It's not far away.
It's a hike. Creighton by 3, 32-29. We're on pace for the over. We'll take a look at the NBA next. InGame live on Friday night.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks playing one touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with one touchdown pass.
Hey, I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Jordan Clarkson is a walking bucket. He will shoot you in games. He will shoot you out of games. But he is the perfect sixth man for a team looking for bench production. A guy that can go get his own shot.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the Rack. And it was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you can talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like OKC just rolling into Detroit going, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live Friday night, Matt Perrault and Dave Sharapan. Time to welcome in our weekly friend Cam Stewart. Picks, plays, and all sorts of good stuff. Toronto is the site of the NHL All-Star Weekend. Cam, we down here, we didn't really know much about it. It feels like it's a massive home game for Canada. How big of a deal is the NHL All-Star Weekend festivities in Toronto?
It's pretty good for basically Toronto's got a lot of it's a world-class city like Vegas, right? So you bring a lot of people in and a lot of stars, and I think it's more about the parties. Like I got invited to a party tonight, but it was like a big affair at like a really nice snazzy bar, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I need to work. Like I can't be dropping money. I got to make money because who knows what's happening at the Super Bowl, right, Matt? And after our Baltimore pick last week, I've been picking up the pieces. Slowly but surely. But golf has been very good so far, like in my matchups and stuff, but it's a 4-round tournament. Like every week, I'm always happy. Then Sunday rolls around. So, no, it's awesome. Like you got a lot of celebrities in town. My girlfriend's downtown. I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'm actually going to be right outside Scotiabank Arena doing like a show from 11 to 2. They have some local Canadian celebrities and stuff. I'm just going to, this guy, Steve Dangle, who I do a podcast with, he's a very famous guy. He represents the Leafs and does like shows and stuff like that. He's going to be down there. Marilyn Dennis, she's kind of like the Oprah of Canada. I don't even know. What am I going to say? Hey, Marilyn, you got a same game parlay? Like, she's going to, what the hell are you talking about? I sell furniture. I'm like, what? I saw her in a commercial for like a window company. I'm like, hey, what? Yeah. Who do you like? How about George Kittle and the Niners? Does that tickle your fancy? Right. Anyway, I don't even know. Like, I literally, like, I'm visiting my parents, and my mom was very sick. I mentioned to her in bed, she was kind of looked at me like, Marilyn Dennis, sports? Like she's like basically does like women's talk shows and things. Matt, I don't know what I'm getting in for tomorrow. As long as there's an envelope of money, or as long as like the check clears, I don't care. I'm Cam's do. Hey everybody, dance like a deep, 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 deep. Whatever they want, I'll do. That's basically the way I roll. Yeah, you know it, Dave.
Before we get to some Super Bowl
that's
stuff,
our life in media. That's our life in media, though. You know,
it kind of is. Yeah. I'm a monkey. I'll do anything for anybody. Pay me. Yeah, I'll be your guy.
What do you think? Before we get to the football stuff, the Kings fired their coach.
Hey,
right?
He called it.
He
called it.
I was going to say, you said that earlier this week that would happen, and. Is that a good thing, bad thing? The Kings have a lot of question marks in that locker room. You were on them early in the season, and you kind of backed off of them. You said they're broken, something's wrong. What was your reaction to them firing the coach?
I think Todd McLellan's a good hockey man, but there had to be something that happened with that team. Like he's coached, like he's been a good coach in the league for a long time. He's taken teams deep, less talented teams as well. So obviously there's still a problem with the Kings, but if you really look at them, they have aging superstars and horrible goaltending. And their young stars like Byfield and stuff, they have to be better. That's the whole thing, Dave. Like Drew Doughty's been in this league a long time. I was thinking about it. When Morency dropped the puck at that Kitchener Rangers Guelph Storm OHL game, Drew Doughty was in that game with Gabriel Landeskog. Landeskog was on Kitchener Rangers and Doughty was on Guelph Storm, right? My buddy's neighbor, Mitch Peverly, we play like street hockey with him. He played for the Guelph Storm, but as you know, Matt, great Boston Bruins, one of the best two-way players going. So I know him a little bit through a friend. But here's the deal. It's just like I think they just needed a change. This team was one of the Stanley Cup favorites. Now they're 18-1. So if you buy into LA, I guess you can get some value there. But are you going to really win with Cam Talbot? Like that's the whole thing. Like he was good at the start of the year. And, it's kind of weird, but I'm kind of thinking, Jonathan Quick, like going to the Rangers, he's actually playing better than any goalie that the Kings have, which is kind of really odd. But Los Angeles is one of those teams, if they get into the dance, I would never underestimate them. They're just one of those teams that are very tough, big, smothering. They're not like the Leafs. Like, the Leafs are like high-flying guys, but in the playoffs, you can kind of hit them. And that's been the Oilers' problem. Like, you need that grit and sandpaper. Why did the Bruins win? Great goaltending, two-way players. When you need a face-off, they get it. When they need a penalty kill, they get it. When they need a big save, they got it. From Tuukka Rask to Swayman to Ullmark, it doesn't really matter, right? So, like, are the Leafs going to win with Samsonov when push comes to shove? I know they're waiting on Wald to get back, and he's still a young guy. So that's the way I kind of look at the situation. I still think there's a lot of flaws with the Kings on the back end and goaltending, but they need to address these problems. It's not on the coach, but Matt, you know hockey, and Dave, this is the way it works. When you're a team projected to be one of the Stanley Cup contenders and you're brutal, like, what was it, 14 out of 16 I was on them against Nashville. They won the game, but they never make anything easy. They're up 2-0, then 2-1, and then they won late. It's just like they're a very frustrating team. But I think in the second half, we'll watch out for them. That's the thing about hockey. War of attrition, guys. Like usually sometimes the best teams don't win. We've seen Columbus beat Tampa Bay. It's just one of those things. In the NBA, we can basically project right now like who's going to be there. Hockey, there's always that surprise team. Like look what Florida did last year. So, I'd say the Kings are still very scary.
Before we get to football, we'll get to your full picks for the Super Bowl here in just 1 second. We did this on BVB. I'm curious, who do you think the best team in the NHL is? Because the odds are wild. Like, it is wide open right now as we hit the break. Who do you think is the best team in the NHL?
It's a great question. I think they're all in the West. I think Colorado.
They're the odds-on favorite. They're 8-1.
Yeah. I like Vancouver's a good team, but it's going to take them a year or two. Like me and Morency were talking about, I go, they're going to be great. Like in a couple of years, they'll be Stanley Cup contenders. They're young. They'll probably maybe win a playoff series this year. Dallas, scary as hell because you never know what Dallas team that you're going to get, right? But for me, Colorado, Dave, you can't count out Vegas. Remember what Aiden Hill did if Eichel gets back healthy. Like I'm looking at the West going, great. Edmonton, are they going to get the goaltending from Skinner? They always find a way to gag in the playoffs. And in the East, I'm like, I can find flaws with the Leafs. I can find flaws. Boston. Is Boston the best team in the East? It's Boston or Carolina for me. Like if I was to bet a team from the East right now, I don't even think the Rangers are like, Jack, no offense. And he knows me and Jack talk about this. I'm a Leaf fan. They're not like the Leafs and the Rangers are in tier 2. They're not in the top tier. Like they got to get better. They could score goals, but they'll give up goals. It's just like I look at our defense going, what the hell are we going to do in the playoffs? Like, you know what I mean? It's just they don't have that guy. Where's Chris Pronger? Like, you know what I mean? That's the type of guy you need, like an absolute killer. But, Matt, it just comes down to this. The Bruins always find a way. And I think Swayman is the most underrated goalie in the league. Allmark's great.
Agreed.
And it doesn't matter. When they switch this team or who's retiring, the Boston Bruins are always a tough bet because they pay attention to details and play two-way hockey. They know how to get it done.
Poor Dave.
Pay attention to details. That's what we're going to do for the Super Bowl. And Perrault and I will be here holding it down while you're holding everything down up in Canada. But what do you got? Defense, props,
Dave,
anything?
I got a few things.
Let's fire away.
I got a few things right now with very little confidence. This is what I'm putting in right now. But you know what? I probably should have waited to bet San Francisco because I got to believe at the end. I think me and Gabe had a disagreement. I think they close 1 or 1.5. Right now it's 2. So the money line, maybe $1.20, $1.30. But I'm just giving you picks that I'm giving now because you guys are going to be doing shows in Vegas and stuff. So I like San Francisco in this game. Betting against Kansas City is a real problem, but I just think San Francisco, Matt, I know I use this analogy all the time, but I really feel this. It's like the NCAA tournament. You got to hang on to win. You got to be scared to win. And I think San Francisco is going to be very prepared in this game. I think McCaffrey's going to have a huge game. And I'm telling you, George Kittle was a ghost against Detroit. He's going to murder these guys over the middle. As for Kansas City, they're going to get theirs. So here's what I'm doing. Breaking every teaser rule out there. Here come my friends from the computer shop. Whatever. San Francisco +5 over 40.5 because 41 is a key number. And I'm taking Kansas City the other way, going 9 over 40.5. What do you think, Matt?
I've done that teaser. Your KC teaser was my first bet on Sunday night. So I fired
I'm going to try to middle this game. Basically,
I'm doing the same exact thing.
I'll be honest with you. I think San Francisco wins this game by 3 or 4 points.
Amen. I agree.
Frank Font, the next pick, which we'll talk about. It's called winning margin. San Francisco to win the game between 1 and 6 points is +300. That is my winning margin play. If you want to do 7 to 12, be my guest. But I like 1 to 6. That one I like a little bit better. So good work there. Gary Graphic and Frank Font, these guys are on fire right now. That's why they're going to Vegas and I'm staying here. Same game parlay. San Francisco to win with Christian McCaffrey. Anytime touchdown becomes, I found a 130, these guys +121. So while I was having a shower today or doing something, the line went down. But I got it at +130. I got George Kittle over receptions. Matt, you're going to slap me around for this one. Like, who am I sponsored by? Tropicana. Like I am drinking juice with extra pulp. I got Kittle over 3.5 receptions, but I got to lay 50 cents. I don't care. Give me 4 receptions or more. I don't want to deal with anything else.
Yeah.
Just that. I found that one. Kelsey, anytime touchdown, minus 125. Why not? Sometimes you got to lay juice. Purdy, over rushing yards. I think he's going to run a little bit more than people think, over 11.5. And Pacheco, over 66.5 rush yards. He's rushed for that number 4 straight games. I was going to do the rushing and receiving, but the problem with him is it's very erratic. 4 catches, 1 catch, 3, 1. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, let's just stick to running the damn ball. Because Kelsey, like the Chiefs' successes, Kelsey's going to get those little hits too. Like he's basically like the running back. Bam, bam, bam. That's what they're going to try to do. It's almost unstoppable. So I don't know how you guys feel about this game. I think the total, everyone loves the over. I lean that way, but I'd rather tease it. I kind of got like a 24-20 game for San Francisco, 24-21. These are the numbers that I'm kind of coming up with right now, guys. But I think San Francisco wins a tight one, and I have to have KC teasers there. I have to do something with Kansas City because I don't want to be in the parking lot crying with Brian Blessing, my God rest his soul, and Andy Isco, and my girlfriend saying, Andy, your hands are so soft. You soaking it like Madge from Palmolive. You've never worked a day in your life. I've never touched a softer hand. She shook his hand. She's like, wow, your hands are soft. I told that story before on the air, but I'll never forget Blessing. He was choking on his Marlboro. He almost like went in his pants. We were laughing. So I'm like, Lisa, be nice to Andy. But she's like, Andy's always giving it to you. I go, he's joking. Like my girlfriend's like a pit bull. You know what? Like if somebody cracks a joke about me, she might like hit him over the head with a frying pan. So if you ever get my girlfriend angry and she's around like a bottle, be careful because I'll tell her it's just a joke, honey. It's just a joke. Like that's the thing. She likes to defend me, but I go, I can handle myself, baby. It's okay. But yeah, she likes to get in there, especially after a few drinks. But that's what you
think. Go ahead. What do you make of the pace of the game? Did you think we're going to see a lot of big plays? So are you looking at, or you think it's going to be lower? Because the problem I've got is if we like the over in the game, it feels like we need like Kittle, Kelsey. We need like a big play or two out of the stars, Ayuk, or someone's going to hit a big one for those touchdowns for the game to go over.
I think, Matt, we're going to see some big plays, but you guys are smart. You live in Vegas. Why would they post a 47.5? How many people are betting the under in this game? That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm like, usually for Super Bowl, it's a heavily bet game. Like, I think it's a very good number, and I'm not screwing around. I think that Kansas City teaser to the over is a safer way. Like 47.5, I think it's going to land right around, like, I mean, like literally on that number by the hook, like 24-23, 24-20. I think it's going to be right. I think both teasers are going to middle, and that's my final score. I'll give it to you right now. San Francisco 24, Kansas City 20. That's I'm going to bet the exact score. I'll probably do.
We're going to have to bet a couple exact scores. I think we did it Dave, before.
Yeah, when I thought you won $72,000, I was like, "Way to go, Dave!" And then I found out and then I'm crying in the parking lot without Andy.
I'm going to talk. Listen, I'm going to talk to MC about that.
I nailed the Rams 23-20 final, and I didn't bet it, and it kicked. And I was so mad.
Oh, you'll never forget those things for the rest of your life when you do that. I still think about those type of bets.
And I will bet this one. I will bet exactas. I think 24-20 is a good score, though, Cam. I like it a lot. Good luck tomorrow. We appreciate it. Back to wrap in-game live next.
Super Bowl is set in Vegas. We get a rematch from just a few years ago.
The only consistency in the playoffs has been Travis Kelce.
Brock Purdy, back-to-back weeks throwing 1 touchdown pass, right? You can't win MVP with 1 touchdown pass. Hey, I hate the Chiefs, but I bet on them.
This is going to be a game that is played inside a field goal now from a spread perspective.
All that matters is there's one game left, the big game.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can tell you, like, Las Vegas is heavy San Francisco territory. All right, there are a ton of Niner fans, man, in Las Vegas and in Nevada, and specifically Reno. Reno's close, obviously, right? So, like, Reno's numbers will be a little bit different, but the total of 47.5. I get it.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Jordan Clarkson is a walking bucket. He will shoot you in games. He will shoot you out of games. But he is the perfect 6'9", man for a team looking for bench production. A guy that can go get his own shot.
Betting Above the Rim, only on SportsGrid.
Purdue on the road in a very difficult place to win in Piscataway, New Jersey. Not in Jersey Mike's Arena, but in the rack. And it was tight.
You still have to win these games. Like, you can talk about even equate it to the NBA. Like, OKC just rolling into Detroit, going, yeah, this is going to be an easy victory, and not coming away with the W because you're not focused here. Good move there for the Purdue Boilermakers. You can take a look at Zach Edey.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
One that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Well, Dave, I was right to punt. I saw it coming. 131, 122. Now we are over 247 there. So I missed on the under, hit on the over, and punted out of that bet. So that's always good to get away from a loss. It's not a win, but it's not a loss, which is good. It is 45-40, I believe, right? The final score, the halftime score here for Creighton. 49-45. Yeah. Live total is 174.5. So my 147.5 probably going to hit pretty easily.
As good as that number is, as bad as the other number was, bet whatever, like, the Pacers total. That's the game, right? You talk about the Super Bowl and it's going to fall right around the number or the this and the that. There's 1,000 basketball games during the season that the total was 147 and it's going to finish close to 200, and other ones where the 247 total is going to go finish closer to 300 or 200. You hit and miss. Listen, man, we got the Super Bowl here in Vegas.
So fun.
Can you believe this? Can you believe we're going to see Jack tomorrow? The boys are flying out. Foster, all the crew. I mean, we got meetings. So excited.
I was walking. I told you when I was down there last week, Thursday and Saturday night. I was on the Strip, and I just was like, "This is going to be absolutely wild. Like, this is going to be one of the more memorable weeks of my career. Like, LA and Phoenix was awesome, but this is Vegas. This is the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. This is Chiefs Niners. This is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and crazy proposal props and weird conversations and like this." And this is the first, I'm going to say this is real. This is the first post-COVID Super Bowl because the last 2 years we've been still nervous about COVID. That is out the window. We are back in a big way. I expect a lot of crazy things on Media Row. It's going to be a ball. We won't be on next Friday nights. You're going to get us from the SportsGrid set all week, though, on the BVB replay live from Mandalay Bay, Media Row. Jack, we'll see you out here. Good job. Matt, Dave, talk to you in a couple of weeks for Friday night. In-game live. SportsGrid's next.